Joining us tonight in virtual meetings 2.0. We're halfway there. We are together. You are with us virtually. So I'm going to call the meeting to order as we ordinarily would. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do want to make note of two changes to the agenda under Section 8, Items for Board Action. We will be adding the approval of an election inspector, and we will be deleting the approval of the termination of an employee. I do want to acknowledge that I did receive public comments from two individuals, one from Rick Morris on behalf of the Watertown Education Association and another from Terry Freeman. Because these comments reference ongoing personnel actions, we will consider those during an executive session later in the meeting. Madam Clerk, are there communications?
No, none that I know.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to start out with the best part of the meeting at the best time of year, and that's the recognition of the Salutatorian and the Valedictorian for the class of 2020. And I know both of these young men, so it's especially happy for me to be sharing this with you. So the first resolution: whereas this Board of Education takes great pride in the area of academic achievement of its students, and whereas Twin Wynn has excelled in academic excellence and has been declared the Salutatorian of the class of 2020 at Watertown High School for his outstanding academic achievement based on an overall average of 97.98, and therefore be it resolved that this Board of Education congratulates Twin on this significant accomplishment and hopes that this will be one of many such honors for him. Twin, you are a credit to your family, school, and teachers. Congratulations. And there does need to be a motion and a second to make this official. Maria Massaras makes that motion. Cully Gosier makes a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. It's official, Twin. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And next, whereas this Board of Education takes great pride in the area of academic achievement of its students, and whereas Andrew Victoria has excelled in academic excellence and has been declared the valedictorian of the class of 2020 at Watertown High School for his outstanding academic achievement based on an overall average of 98.21, therefore be it resolved that this Board of Education congratulates Andrew on this significant accomplishment and hopes that this will be one of many such honors for him. Andrew, you are a credit to your family, school, and teachers. Congratulations. And to make that official, I'll entertain a motion.
Jason
Harrington, and a second.
Michael
Strubin. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. It's official. I know that Mrs. LeVar has a couple of words that she'd like to say to you as well.
Congratulations, Andrew and Twin. I had the pleasure of being your principal when you were at Wiley, and it seems like just yesterday, Twin, you were with Mrs. James and then Mrs. Dwyer. And Andrew, I remember you being with Mrs. Frears and then Mr. Ackerman. And my message to both of you today is similar to the message that I actually put in your 6th grade yearbook. So I hope you'll go back and read this message. This message was about 2020 and 2020 making reference to vision and asking you as sixth graders what your vision was for the future. And I continue to challenge you to explore what your vision is for your futures. You both have bright futures ahead of you. We are very proud of both of you. Andrew, I wish you the best of luck at the University of Pittsburgh. Go Pitt. And Twin, I wish you the best at Yale University. Congratulations to both of you. I will be contacting both of you tomorrow. We have a gift for both of you, and I will be delivering it. So I'll call you both tomorrow to make those arrangements, but congratulations. We are all extremely proud of you. I know the administration at Watertown High School and all staff in the district are very proud of you as well. So congratulations and best wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We always tell guests, whether they're virtual or in person, you're welcome to stay with us for the rest of the meeting. It's not required. You'll still get your gift. We'll move on to board and staff reports with a report on the policy committee meeting from May 15th. Colleen?
Yes, so we met May 15th virtually. Seems like a long time ago, but I guess it really wasn't. And reviewed the following policies. 7200, reporting possible child abuse or maltreatment. This policy is required, and we changed guidance to school counselors, added homeschool coordinator, and changed and added or people personnel staff member. 7201, child abuse in an educational setting. This policy is also required, and here we changed to all compensated district employees who are required to hold temporary coaching licenses or permanent certificates. So point one, regulation, we added homeschool coordinator, excuse me. Regulation point two, we deleted guidance, as in guidance counselors. Point three and point four, we changed parent to guardian on the form. 7202, prohibition of discrimination, harassment, and bullying. This policy is also required. Here we added Watertown City School District and deleted severe or so persuasive. The following regulation to the form had minimal changes. 7203, non-discrimination of educational services, or minor changes here. This was last reviewed in 2018, and this policy is also required. The regulation point one had minimal changes. 7300, co-curricular and extracurricular programs. Minimal changes here, grammatical and spelling correction. 7301, school-sponsored students, and the regulation was also looked at. 7302, student social events. Since we added Watertown City School District to this. 7303, student government, minimal changes. And the regulation, we added Watertown City School District. 7304, assemblies was looked at. 7400, students and personal electronic devices. Here we added Watertown City School District. 7401, student automobile use. Once again, added Watertown City School District to the policy. 7500, educational records. Here we this replaces policy 7500 with a new policy and regulation 7500.1. And this policy is required. In doing this, renumbered the regulations 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. 7501, parental access to instructional materials, third-party surveys, and marketing surveys. We added Watertown City School District. Again, the regulation on this was also looked at. 7502, school safety and educational climate report. Watertown City School District was added with minor grammar and layout changes. 7600, extracurricular student code of conduct. We last looked at this in 2019. Minimal changes were made. 7601.1 and point two, both being regulations, were also looked at. 7601, concussion management. This policy is required and was looked at last year. Minimal changes. 7601.1 and 2 go on with it in regulation. 7602, providing a safe public school choice to students who have been victims of a violent criminal offense. We made changes defining it, the federal law requirements. We added Watertown City School District. Also, definitions were added and changed the VADI report to school safety and educational climate form. 7700, student complaints, added Watertown City School District. 7701, student volunteers for school and public service was looked at. 5404 was deleted and replaced with 5404, information security breach. This policy is required and needs to be in place on July 1st. And that concludes what was looked at the last policy meeting.
And then 5410 was at the very bottom, it might have gotten cut off.
Oh, I did get cut off.
It was the other one that's also mandated for
July 1, okay.
5410.
And those last two were a specific reaction to the current online instructional needs, correct?
No, they were actually part of Ed Law 2D, so these were in the works prior to that.
But the timing's not bad.
Exactly.
All right. And we'll be looking at those under items for board action, and they
Yes.
were part of the board packet.
This evening, yes, correct.
All right, then we'll move on to items for consent agenda.
Yes. Resolved that the consent agenda items A, B, C, D, and E are hereby approved.
Can I have a motion?
Michael.
And a second?
Susie.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the Board of Education of the Watertown City School District of the City of Watertown, New York, establish a rate of $397 per pupil for the school year 2019-2020 for the health services provided for non-resident pupils attending non-public schools located within the City of Watertown. The following figures are shown to justify the determination of the above rate and are hereby approved.
Can I have a motion on that?
Kelly.
And a second?
Maria,
Any discussion?
so we charge after the fact, is that basically what we're doing here?
Actually, this is an annual thing that we do, and they settle it right around Josh is on as well. And this is the typical time of year where we settle that.
Yeah,
Any other?
it's, we probably should have, it looks like it should have been done probably March, April timeframe. Tracy being new and myself being new, this would be our first go around because it would have been done prior to me starting last year. So going forward, we'll have it earlier in the spring, but we still have it. We can still charge back for students that aren't ours, most of which are parochials. Students from other districts attending the parochials. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the revised Board of Education policies are hereby approved and adopted.
And we are not going to make Michelle read all of those. They are the names and numbers that Cully just referenced in his report of the policy meeting. So can I have a motion on that?
Susie.
And a second?
Maria,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Whereas the district has 33 automated external defibrillators in the event of an emergency that need to be monitored and serviced, whereas the district has allowed for piggybacking on New York State OGS contracts, whereas Cardiac Life Incorporated is an authorized reseller of Cardiac Science Corporation, holder OGS contract number PC 67962 for New York State OGS award PGB 23103, automated external defibrillators and related accessories. Therefore, be it resolved that the 5-year agreement for on-site AED program management not to exceed $46,200 in total is hereby approved.
And I have a motion on that.
Michael.
And a second.
Kelly.
Any discussion?
is this new that we are joining?
Yes.
So have our AEDs been serviced prior to this, or?
They have, but it hasn't been on a regular schedule, and we feel this is such a critical safety, need that we need to put it on a regular schedule to make sure that they're all working properly.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that a donation from various sponsorships for $1,920 for the 2021 musical program at Watertown High School is gratefully accepted and approved.
May I have a motion for that?
Jason.
And a second.
Susie.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of Patricia B. LaBar, Superintendent of Schools, the following tenure appointments are hereby approved, effective June 11th. Shannon Allegria, Elementary; Jacinda Brown, Music; Heather Seen, Elementary; Elizabeth Cobb, Elementary; Lindsay Crespo, Remedial Reading; Devin DeSico, Remedial Speech; Amanda Durden, Elementary; Daniel Green, Science; Krista Holland Kronk, Special Education; Andrew Kiliansky, Physical Education; Thomas O'Reilly, Special Education; Megan Schweitzer, Elementary; Rebecca Soley, Elementary; Danielle Tile, Science; Pamela Vanderbilt Barrett, Elementary; Ashley Walborough, Elementary; Stephanie Yancey, School Social Worker.
Can I have a motion on that?
Maria.
And a second.
Michael.
Any discussion?
Congratulations to new teachers.
Yes, congratulations indeed.
There are no other questions or comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, Patricia B. LaBar, the Board of Education hereby approves the following: retirements, resignations, leaves of absence, appointment probationary instructional, term non-probationary instructional, appointments probationary non-instructional, appointments provisional, appointments lead teachers, appointments summer school food service.
Can I have a motion?
Susie.
And a second.
Jason.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the revised schedule for Board of Education meetings for the 2019-20 year is hereby approved. May 20 meeting and public hearing was moved to May 26th. June 2nd meeting was moved to June 10th. June 16 meeting has been moved to June 17th.
Okay. Is there a motion on that?
Maria.
And a second?
Michael.
Any discussion? So we do need to have a meeting on the 17th to approve the campus. Will that be our regularly scheduled second meeting for the month, or will we also have a meeting later in the month?
That's up to you. If you want another meeting, then the reorg meeting isn't until July 7th. So if we can get through other business next week as well as the canvas, without any extenuating circumstances or emergencies, we could hold off to July 7th. But if not, then we would have to add another emergency type meeting. At this point, we don't see the need for a third meeting in the month, but something may come, something may pop up that we would need more approval.
Well, as we've learned over the last 3 months, you never know.
It's possible.
You never know from day to day. So I will entertain a motion to approve that revised calendar.
Jason.
Michael with Jason as a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved that the following person be and are hereby appointed inspector of an election to serve in the respective school election districts for the school budget and Board of Education vote to be held on the 16th day of June 2020, and the clerk of the board shall give written notice of the appointment to each person as required by law. Janice Henderson. Further resolved that in the event of the inability of any of the foregoing to serve, the clerk of the board is hereby authorized to obtain and appoint a replacement.
Can I have a motion?
Susie?
And a second?
Maria?
Any discussion? Just to clarify, this is replacing someone who could not serve, is that correct? Not that we're adding an additional inspector? Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's the end of the resolution.
Okay, then we will move on to items for discussion and information, and that is the superintendent of schools report.
I'd like to start off again with celebrations. I'd like to congratulate all of our tenured teachers. They've worked very hard to get to that goal, and I commend them for all of their hard work and effort in obtaining their tenure. I'd also like to just give a few shout outs to different groups. The Watertown High School 15-1 team did a virtual celebration, but prior to that, they did a parade and they visited all of their seniors and delivered some gifts and some pizza. And I think, you know, by the afternoon when the kids signed into their meeting and they had a beautiful PowerPoint, and they spend a lot of time with these children over 4 years. So they highlighted a lot of neat things that they've had happen along the way. And it was a really nice presentation, and I was excited to be part of that virtual presentation. I also appreciate the high school students' artwork, the virtual display that Mrs. Ames shared with all of us today, and actually on Monday morning. We joined some second graders that were sharing their passion projects, and we learned a lot about chipmunks and foxes and sharks and pandas. And on Friday, we'll sign in and learn a little bit more about parrots and tigers. So that was really fun to be part of. And you know, it was very exciting on Monday just to be part of the process and see kids interacting with their teacher online. But the technology didn't really work extremely well on Monday morning. There were a lot of glitches, but they all worked together and just rescheduled and hung in there. And if it was the volume or the video that wasn't working, and then they came back together, and today there was not one technology glitch, and the kids were really excited to share their projects, so that was fun to see. The high school staff and the committee that worked on different things for seniors had the opportunity to meet in small groups last week. The stage was set up exactly like it would have been at graduation, and kids came in and had opportunities to take photos. And I think with that, the high school has started a new tradition because the feedback was really positive. You know, if you think back to all of the ceremonies that we've attended, after the ceremony is over, there's a large crowd outside and there's some pictures that are taken. This was an opportunity for, in small groups, a student walked the stage, stopped, had their picture taken, which will be part of the virtual ceremony coming up on June 27th. But then parents were given the opportunity to stand and take a picture with their students. So it was a little bit emotional, but I think that it also helps our students put a little bit of closure on the actual ceremony. And we're really looking forward to the parade and the virtual ceremony that's coming up on June 27th. Also, the high school was featured in the On Board magazine, New York State School Boards. I sent you the link to that earlier. So their ideas of what they've put forth are just a small collection of what other schools have done are in the article. And so I thought it was kind of neat. It was very positive for our district. Our food service staff, I know I talk and give a shout out to them every time we meet, but they have now served 101,000 meals since we started on COVID. So that in itself has been a tremendous feat, and I appreciate each and every one of them and what they've done and the support that they've received from the rest of the staff and helping serve the meals and or helping deliver meals out if you were in one of the CAPC sites. So good job on all of that. Updates and things that are in progress. Again, here's where we're at today. It's again the perfect place to start. Over the weekend, we received news on different executive orders that impacted our district. One of them was on the voting. So as we know, as of last night at 5 p.m., that was the last that we were allowed to receive ballots in person in the district. So the ballot boxes have been removed from the front entrance, and we can now only accept the mail-in of the ballots through mail-in. And that goes right up until June 16th, and then at 5 p.m. we start counting the votes. So that will be an interesting process. Special ed is allowed to take place in person, and Shannon Whitney shared with me some of the plans that she's been working really hard on. So it will be a blend of some in person in very small groups and a blend of virtual. And as soon as she refines, she's actually on the agenda for the next board meeting because she would share out the special ed plans, and I think it would be a good opportunity to keep her on the agenda and instead of the annual updates that she normally gives us, to share a little bit about what services special ed students have received throughout this closure, as well as what summer school for special ed will look like. But she's got a really great plan in process, and I actually got an update from State Ed today that some of the plan has already been approved. And then finally, the third announcement over the weekend dealt with graduation and allowing graduation to be until 150, in person. And when we worked earlier on months ago with this plan and met with the county executives and city officials and the Department of Health, we made a plan that was really safe for our students. And with 150, we would probably at a minimum be looking at 1,200 people with the graduates that we have and adding their families, even if we limited the families to 4 and looked at adding staff to come in, it would take us, so we're gonna stick the course for now. We are very excited about the plan that the high school has already put in place, and we're going to support that. And they've done a great job. I couldn't be more proud of what they've done. Smart schools, I talked about that last week. That is in the works. We've had a couple more meetings. We are starting the work. A lot of the equipment has been ordered, but due to COVID, there are a lot of shipping delays. And one of the things that we'll be starting on very shortly, as soon as the equipment arrives, is really a whole new phone system. And with that comes a lot of other things. And so as the equipment comes in and we start installing, I'll give you more updates on what it looks like and which buildings have been impacted with that. We continue our work with Gwen Incorporated, and in the past few weeks, we started one-on-one leadership sessions with our building principals and Gwen, and I've had a lot of positive feedback from the principals that have had their one-on-one with her, and I look forward to the work that we continue to do with Gwen. That's it for me.
Okay, well, that is the last item on our agenda. Even the upcoming dates section is blank. We have discussed that though, so we will be meeting it again next Wednesday. Same time, same place. Okay. Since we have a moment, if there's anything that anyone wants to share that was not on the agenda, it's been a while since we were able to meet in person. Now would be the time.
Given the original deadline, do we have any indications to how voter turnout as it is has been impacted by the mail-in status?
We have a tremendous amount. We have well over 3,000 right now.
I thought that might possibly happen given the convenience, but
When they come in, we are checking them off manually on the master list, have an alphabetized list, and then counting them in increments of 25 and locking them at night, and we have plenty. Yeah, it should be interesting.
Do you think this will be the biggest voter turnout in the history of the district?
We haven't gone back historically to how far back, but the average over the past 4 years has been about 529. So it is significantly different than the last 4-year average, but we need to go back in. And I wouldn't guarantee that it's size, but I'd say we must be.
Can I just clarify graduation June 27th at 11 a.m.?
So 11 a.m. is the parade,
And that's what we were invited to?
yes. Yep, and we'll make sure that you get more details as it gets closer. And then the virtual ceremony, I believe, is going to start at around 1:30.
Anything else? We do need to have an executive session to cover discussion of an individual employee's contract, an administrator evaluation, and discussion of public comments regarding personnel actions. Can I have a motion on that?
Maria?
And a second?
Susie?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. If you want to take a couple minutes, we'll regroup and meet. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Jason, and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all.